Ladies and germs, we have lost the plot when it comes to wedding vows. We've lost it. It's gone. It's all gone. Everything's gone. Bye. Woo, see you later. I don't know if it's because the internet now serves these kinds of videos every time I log on, or if this has just become so much more prevalent, but I feel like we need to revisit a topic that I did 5 years ago on how to write the perfect vows. Because I'm going to tell you right now, this ain't it.
And Douglas, go ahead and read your vows to your beautiful bride.
Okay. I wrote them down, I'm a little nervous. I'm kidding, it's a joke.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and link to the creator who ended up, duetting this or stitching it or whatever the term kids are using these days. But does it stop there? No, it doesn't. There's 2 viral wedding vows, we're gonna call them, that went a little crazy a couple years ago, probably like a year and a half, 2 years ago. And I'm not going to dignify those speeches with any sort of airtime here on this channel, because in my opinion, they're crass and inappropriate and rude, and they went viral for all the wrong reasons. And honestly, I wish they had seen my previous video. So I'm making a new one so it bumps to the top of people's feeds, so we don't have excuses anymore for things like this to happen.
Aside from these guys up here and some people in the audience, you are my best friend.
Thanks. So cute, right? Warm, fuzzy feelings for everybody involved. Not a dry eye in the house. Now, before you think I'm berating on Just Grooms specifically, please forgive the excessive use of words across the screen of this one. Clearly, I got one that had been, reposted about 72 million times, but the sentiment still stands.
For better.
For better.
For worse.
For worse.
For richer.
For richer.
For poor.
For poorer.
Yeah. We hit that snag about 20 times in counseling. Bria made it very clear to Jonathan, you cannot be broke. In sickness.
In sickness.
And in health.
And in health.
To love.
To love.
Cherish.
Cherish.
And to obey.
We didn't talk about that one in counseling.
We did talk about that in counseling. Yes, we did. So you want me to repeat that again? You want to just keep going?
I think we can keep going.
All right.
No, listen, the last one had a little bit more humor to it, sure, naturally. But we can't do a video on jokes during vows without my favorite goat of all time, this lady. So tempting to take this moment that you are professing your eternal love for your favorite person in front of all your friends and family and turn it into something a little bit funny. And honestly, it's something we've seen for years and years, decades even, of turning this into a slightly silly moment, if not an outright cry for help. And while I do understand the desire to make it funny, I think that there is a way to do this with class and humor that won't make it so a priest stops your entire event and refuses to marry you. I'm not kidding. A video of Father Fabio Marinho went viral on social media after he reported during an interview on the LendaCast podcast that he annulled a wedding due to a joke the groom made at the altar. The incident took place in Uberlandia. According to the priest, I might be saying that wrong, okay? It's Portuguese. That's not my first or second or seventh language. And I only really know 2. According to the priest, during the blessing, the guests began to laugh. Unable to understand why, he noticed that the groom had glued the phrase, "Help me, get me out of here," to the sole of his shoe. This behavior was interpreted as an impediment to the wedding, leading the priest to cancel the ceremony. They knelt for me to give the blessing, and the church started laughing. I thought something happened. When I saw what was in the groom's shoe, I took it off and got it. I said, look, this is an impediment to me validating your marriage. Therefore, the wedding is canceled. You'll have to go through all the necessary procedures and decide if you really want to marry her because you're asking for help, the priest said. He also stated that the marriage must be performed consciously and spontaneously with no room for joking. When I asked if it was your own free will, you said yes, but now you're asking for help. This isn't a joke or theater. Leave the joking for the party with your guests. I'm not there to celebrate something that isn't serious. If the groom is asking for help, he doesn't want it. In the name of the church, I'm obliged by canon law to suspend the marriage. The marriage becomes invalid, he explained. The incident generated significant attention on social media, dividing opinions among internet users. While some defended the priest's stance, others believed the groom's actions were merely a joke with no intention of invalidating the marriage. Now hang in there with me. I will give you the rubric and the blueprint for how to write the perfect vows for you and your spouse. But we needed to cover some of these first. And I will say this is the first time that I've ever seen large amounts of on the internet agree with a priest. Where they're just like, yep, sure enough. Although there is one comment I do want to call attention to. And I think it's really important. This is an ordained minister. He says, when I booked for a marriage ceremony, I meet with the couple in advance. One thing I do, I make it very clear that any sort of joke or prank that suggests one or the other is not entering the marriage of their own free will. I will stop the ceremony immediately, and they will need to rebook a minimum of 6 months later. I explained that I don't know their relationship, so I wouldn't know if it's a joke and will err on the side of respect, as that type of garbage is completely disrespectful to the couple and myself. I do think that if we are going to dissect the situation with the priest and the shoe, that perhaps the priest should have gone through the no joking policy because it is so prevalent. Y'all, there are so many videos on the internet of jokes during vows that if I included them all in this video, we'd be here for several years. It's prevalent. It's common. And it's something that you can agree with or disagree with. But I'm here to tell you, if you want to make sure that you're not hurting your favorite human's feelings on your wedding day, then you might need to be a little bit more balanced about your approach. And you might need to put a little bit more time and effort into writing these vows to make sure that you are seen and perceived and go viral for the right reasons, should you choose to post any portion of your wedding on the internet. Thank you so much. First and foremost, if you would like to do standardized vows, you can totally do that. The rest of this video is going to be completely irrelevant for you, unless you like sticking around for humor, just generally speaking. No pun intended. It's perfectly reasonable. Your love story still stands. It still counts. You still love each other if you are using direct vows, if you're using copy-paste vows, if you're using something through the church, through your preacher, through organized religion, or outside of it, it does not matter. You can use pre-done items, okay? You can also choose to have a pre-written one and remove sections from it. So if you don't want the term obey to be in there, you can ask the officiant to remove that section or print it up yourself and hand it to them without that phrase being included. So you don't have an awkward moment of like, oh, I promised everything but that. Okay? But let's say, for conversational sake, you do want to kick it up a notch. The first place to start would be with your officiant, especially if you've known them for a while, if you're doing any sort of premarital counseling, if this is a professional officiant. Obviously, if you're asking your Uncle Joe to do this and you're handing him the script, he's not going to have any ideas for you, okay? That's not a great plan. But if this is someone that you've hired or does this professionally or is a pastor or someone in that capacity that might have templates for you, talk to them because they might know your love story better than I do and they might already have some sort of script or something to go off of to help you get started. The next thing that you need to do is you need to talk to your fiance and just be like, what are we vibing with? Okay, we can change our minds, but like, are we going to be kind of silly with this? Because like, I do not have the same level or type of humor as my husband does. Okay, he is dry. His brand of humor is my favorite and also kind of the worst. Speaking of not roasting your spouses, he would honestly laugh to hear me make that statement. But notice it's not in my vows. It's just in a video that thousands of people are going to see on the internet instead. There's a difference. Are we going emotional? Are we going with that vibe? Do we want to add some humor into it? I mean, we as a couple, for us specifically, we love humor. We love laughing. That's an important part of our relationship, an important part of our marriage. When the laughter dies with us, we're stressed or upset or something is going on. And so to skip over any and all sorts of humorous elements wouldn't make sense for us and for who we are. Also, you kind of want to agree on the overall length. I think anywhere from like maybe a minute and a half to like 3 minutes. But if you happen to be a little bit shorter than that, that's okay too. So once you have enough of an idea of the emotional vibes that you're going for, you can either search out a template on your own or use the framework that I'm about to give you. Provenance. I'm going to go ahead and put the words on the screen. Not sponsored. Love them. They do help with vows, help with officiants, especially if this is not what they do for a living, to write your ceremony out, and then help with anyone giving toasts or speeches at your wedding. If someone is holding a microphone other than the DJ at your wedding, they provide a service for you. So that is a great place to go if you're looking for something like that. I'll go ahead and leave it linked right here if you want to check them out. But here's what I need you to do, okay? We've got the template. We've either from the officiant or online or with Provenance. I want you to start taking notes. What do you love about them? Okay, what are some great qualities? Maybe start jotting down some funny anecdotes, some funny little side stories, things of that nature. Take notes. Brainstorm, really put pen to paper or bust open the notes app on your phone so you can always come back to it later or add your thoughts to it throughout the day as you're scrolling, etc. and just jumping on over and be like, oh, this is a really good thing. I kind of want to add this here. I just want you to give yourself time and grace and space to accomplish this with intention and without feeling forced, and then really finding details and stories and little anecdotes that resonate with you two as a couple. But before you put actual pen to paper for writing the literal vows, here's what we're going to avoid, okay? We're going to avoid overly embarrassing our spouse. Okay? Couple things here and there. Blowing the dust off the vows, peak comedy, in my opinion. She said nothing. The dust spoke for itself. Just literally so good, okay? And you don't have to agree with me on that one. You could think that one's also inappropriate. I think also knowing the couple is really important in moments like this. But that's subtle, right? I feel like most of us know this as a rule anyways, so a lot of us are not going to end up on the internet for saying something extremely inappropriate. But it could be something like this.
For as long as you both shall live.
I do.
I do think it helps that all the friends afterwards went, heck yeah, absolutely, totally approved, this is great. Because I think it turned it from the bride being the butt of the joke to just a funny moment during the ceremony. I'm also going to take it one step further though. I personally would suggest avoiding adding in too many inside jokes. One or two kind of funny, especially if you get your fiance to cry from laughing so hard. Like, that's cute, funny. Don't make the whole thing about that, just a professional aside. You really lose your guests. This is also not the moment where you start debating public versus private vows. Obviously, we're talking about public vows. If you want to do private ones, then a lot of this is moot. Okay, so how are you actually going to write them? First of all, you can start with a story. Some sort of, here's how we met. Here's when I fell in love with you. Here's the first time I realized we're going to spend the rest of our life together. Story. Boom. Here. And I'm going to highlight something that really explains our love together. Next, I want you to affirm your fiance. Here are some things that are great about you. That could also be told in story form, right? When you traveled across the country to see me when I was sick, I knew you would always be there in sickness and in health. I knew that I could always depend on you. So we're turning it from your love story into a story of affirming your partner, of affirming what you love about them. And this could also just be a list of things that you enjoy with a couple of examples here and there. I love that you make me laugh until my sides hurt. I love that you randomly steal my car and run it through a car wash just so I can be surprised with a clean vehicle. I love cooking with you, and I'm excited to spend a lifetime of trying to open drawers while you're standing there talking to me in the kitchen. See? Subtle, cute, funny. And you know what? These are all personal examples from my life. They were not my vows, but if I rewrote them today, they probably would be, okay? Because he does. He takes my car to wash it randomly, and I think it's really sweet. And he loves telling me about his day, and he gets so distracted by his storytelling that he just ends up standing in one spot and end up having to pull the drawer open and knock into his keister for him to be like, oh yeah, sorry, I'll come stand over here, and then proceeds to stand in front of the next drawer I need to access. But you have to bring in this element. You have to bring in promises and or vows. It is not a vow if you don't have a vow. I vow to love you when. And I know we touched on templates earlier, right? This could be where you happen to use a template or implement a little bit more of that structure in here. If you're like, I don't really know what to promise, I like some of the other things that I've heard, you can pick and choose things that you'd like to add here. And some of these vows can be cute and some of them can be a little bit funny. As long as you actually promise something about the future for the two of you, about your future wishes, about what you want for this marriage, about who you want to be in this marriage, who you want to be for them in this marriage. I vow to do this. I vow to be here for you. I vow to support this, which I personally love rounding out with a really beautiful final vow where you can kind of tie in that initial love story. And finally, I promise to love you as much as I did that first day at that Dodgers game. Just kidding. I'm not a Dodgers fan. It just came out. Okay? So don't hate me for that. Because whether it's for your favorite sporting team or for our marriage, I know that I lucked out in getting the biggest cheerleader I could ever find. And I vow to always be your biggest supporter as well. Oh, that's fresh. So you got your vows. They're all written. La-di-da. Fantastic. Here's what you need to do. Please practice them. Please practice them, okay? And I know I mentioned this video years ago. We don't want to think about this being like a first draft, but you might need to go back in there and make some edits, okay? I want you to practice. I want you to write in pauses in case you say something that you think might be a little bit funny. Allow yourself to pause if the crowd is laughing or clapping or if your fiance is laughing. Like, allow for those natural moments to let the speech itself truly shine. And then last, but most certainly not least, before you send this off to the printer, okay? I need you to read it to somebody. Sorry, I got loud. This is our last line of defense, ladies and gentlemen. How much do you want to bet if those viral grooms, the one that we will not give airtime to, okay? If those viral grooms took their vows to someone else and that person went, man, you can't say that. You can't say that. If that viral groom took his vows to a family member or friend or officiant who was his mother, by the way, and said, hey, could you read this? Just want to see what you think. We could save a lot of scenarios if people followed a simple framework like this and then took their vows and either handed it to somebody else for them to read or read it to them themselves. Sometimes we get in our own heads and we either think the vows are super, super good or not good enough and we just need an outside sounding board. Or, someone to lovingly shake you. Hey man, those can't be the two things that you claim will always make you the most happy in your wedding vows. Full stomach and empty brain. Because when you use those as your vows, it's not a lot. You're not showing a lot of things happening up here. And there could be. I don't know you. I kind of don't want to, but I don't know you. So as our last line of defense, make sure you are sharing this with somebody. Ideally, you and your fiance are sharing your vows with the same person. It could be a friend of yours. For my husband and I, it was his sister who loves to read and loves to write. She's an English teacher now. Or it could be your officiant. I can think of at least 2 weddings that we shared in today's video that had they run their little jokes by the officiant, we would have seen a little less heartache and maybe one less canceled wedding. There are fun surprises and there are not fun surprises, and this is the latter. And last but most certainly not least, make sure you print up a clean copy. Even if you are putting it into a vow book, that's totally fine. You can still print it up and glue it or tape it in there, especially if you don't like your handwriting or you're worried you're not gonna be able to read it very well. That's okay. Your vows still count if they're not handwritten, especially if you or your fiance does not have good handwriting. Like, it's the sentiment's sweet. But if you can't actually read your vows on your wedding day, then it's not gonna go great when you decide to ad-lib it instead. At least for most of us. So that's what we have for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. I am curious to hear your thoughts on the priest situation, though. Do you think the priest should have canceled the entire wedding ceremony? I don't know. I have my thoughts and opinions on it, but I'm going to keep them close to my chest on this one because I want to hear what you guys think on that one. Drop those in the comments below. If you haven't done so already, like the video if you like the video and subscribe to this channel for more tips and tricks for the modern day bride. And if you haven't checked out Providence, I will have them linked in the description box down below. Again, not sponsored, but hey, Providence, if you see this, call me because I love your products. Thank you. And until next week, bye guys.